All right, well, good evening. So we are back, and I guess we're going to get to work on this this leg vise stand tonight. Now, I'm kind of still formulating a plan as I go in my head. You guys know how I am with that. I'm not much on planning beforehand, and sometimes that really shows. But what we have a piece of 8-inch steel pipe, 3/8 wall. We have a small piece of 3/4 inch mild plate steel we're going to use for the top. I was going to cut it down, but I think I'm going to leave it bigger so I have a spot to set some things. And then, of course, the leg vise that we repaired in the last video. And I was worried about, I wanted to make sure that my welds didn't crack once this thing cooled down, but they look good, no problems there. So basically what we're going to do to start, I'm going to get this pipe cut. It's going to take me a little while with that friggin' grinder and pipe this big. It's going to take me a few minutes to get that done. So I'll probably put you guys in a time lapse for that because there's nothing real fancy there to see. It's just one of those deals we got to get it done. But so we need 30 inches. All right, well, we're going to get to it now. We'll get our super expensive pipe wrap here for marking this out. It's just an old 4x36 piece of belt sandpaper. Perfect for what we're doing. There we go. Well, let's see how long it takes to cut this thing tonight. All right, so I know this might be a little difficult to see, but right now we have this thing kind of lined up really nicely where we want it to go. Now, this isn't attached or anything right now. She's just kind of perched up here. Let's see if we can get it a little more where I want it. So my plan is, I always have to have a plan, you know. The plan is to make a bracket to go down the bottom and weld it onto the pipe and be able to set it down in it. We'll drill a hole in it and all that good stuff. Cut it out the size. And we'll trace it around the pipe itself. And this piece, we'll end up nipping this off probably. I may leave it though because it might be a handy spot to set things while I'm working. Of course, unless I put a lip around it, probably whenever I'm working on this thing, it'll probably rattle off, but I'm actually fairly happy with that. I'm going to have to make some wedges to drive into this thing to suck it all in tight, but I think that'll work out just fine. So we're going to get back to it. I'm going to trace this out. Actually, I probably better do some grinding, cleaning up, all that good stuff. Get a little chamfer on this. Yeah. See what happens. Good times. Always with the good times. Well, my welds certainly aren't perfect yet. I've still got so much to learn when it comes to welding, but starting to get a little better with the rod control, things like that. I find striking an arc is my biggest issue, but I found if I steady the electrode down closer to where I'm striking the arc, it's so much better. I think you get just enough of a jitter there to really kind of screw things up. So rather than get you a bunch of blinding welding footage, I need to get the right filters for this camera for that. But so anyway, we're going to get another pass through here. It probably won't look as nice as that one did. That one actually came out pretty nice. You know, I have a few spots where I get a little spatter in there, but for the most part, that's a vast improvement. That's a major improvement over where we were, you know, when I started doing this channel and we started getting into some more welding. But basically, these welds have to be pretty solid to hold this top on, so we're going to keep after it, and I'll bring you guys back for the finishing shot of it. Well, alright, in the guise of honesty, there's my second pass. I'm much happier with the first pass, but it's not going to go anywhere, that's for sure. I think I lingered a little too long. Oh, yeah, we're still in frame. I lingered a little too long when I was making these passes and kind of undercut it a little bit. But it's not in too deep. It's maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but that should hold just fine. I mean, that's a pretty heavy piece of plate steel on top, so I had to make sure that I got it well. I mean, that's definitely a big improvement over what it used to be, but definitely room for more improvement. I probably would have been better off making 2 more passes and then a pass down the middle, and it probably would have come out a little bit better. I was trying to weave this a little bit, and sometimes I find that's where I kind of run into trouble a little bit. But honestly, that's a lot better than what I used to do. I don't see a bunch of holes in it like I used to get, and getting better at figuring out the angle. I've been watching some like welding tips and tricks, and weld.com, their channel on YouTube's had some really good pointers to kind of get you in the right direction. You gotta love YouTube. You can learn anything on here. Alright, another night. A little more progress done on all these various projects that I'm trying to get done. So the welding is definitely getting better. It's getting easier. Definitely a lot more comfortable with it than I was. You know, I've been toying with welding off and on for the last 6-7 years. But the problem I run into a lot is probably like a lot of you. I don't do it every day. Sometimes I'll go shoot. There's been times I've gone a year without doing it. So every time you get going, you kind of reteach yourself. And it's another problem with teaching yourself a lot of times is you lack a lot of the proper technique, and it doesn't matter how many times somebody tries to explain it to you until you see it and until you have that aha moment. Just like a lot of other things, it's kind of difficult to pick it up. But I shouldn't say difficult. It's really not difficult. It's just getting to that point where you're comfortable. Now, I wouldn't even attempt to weld upside down or anything like that. You know, that's just, or vertical. I'm definitely not there yet, but I could stick 2 pieces of metal together and make it solid. So I guess that's better than nothing. But anyway, kind of a short one tonight. We're just kind of moving along, and this leg vise stand, we've got a lot of cutting and a lot of fabricating left to do and some legs to make and things like that. This is going to be anchored down to the concrete. I've noticed a lot of people fill them up with sand, things like that, but I'm pretty sure if I anchor it to the concrete, I got a bunch of drop-in anchors, but for now what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to Tapcon it in with some 4-inch Tapcons. I'll probably put 2 per leg in. Now that's not ideal because over time Tapcons do, if you're reefing on it and stuff like that, those holes are going to get wallered out a little bit. And once they are, you have to make new holes and move it. But I don't want to put the anchors in yet until I know exactly where I want that thing. Once I have that exactly where I want it, then I'll put the anchors in, the drop-ins, and we'll bolt it down properly, because that's something, I don't want to put a bunch of holes in the floor if I don't need to. So I may decide a month from now that I really don't like that spot, or it's too close to the wall, or it's too far out in the middle of the room. So that's the thought process there anyway. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one.